Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today in the East Atrium here at the United Center. My name is Eddie Olczyk, and I'm honored to host today's special event. I'd like to take a minute to welcome our audience on Blackhawks.com, as well as the exclusive broadcast partner of NBC Sports Chicago. Seated to your right, my left, our Chicago Blackhawks Senior Vice President, General Manager of the Blackhawks, Stan Bowman, Chicago Blackhawks Amateur Scouting Leader, Mark Kelly, and the newest member of the Blackhawks, the third overall pick in the 2019 NHL entry draft, Kirby Dach. Before we go any further, I would like to acknowledge a few additional special guests in attendance here this morning. The chairman of the Chicago Blackhawks, Mr. Rocky Wirtz, Blackhawks President and CEO, John McDonough, Blackhawks Executive Vice President, Mr. Jay Blunk, Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations, Al McIsaac, and a special welcome to the city of Chicago, the Dach family, traveling from Fort Saskatchewan, Canada, just outside Edmonton, Alberta. Father Dale, Mother Hillary, younger brother Colton, and younger sister Callie, welcome to the city of Chicago and the Chicago Blackhawks. As well, a very special guest, a Hockey Hall of Famer and the third overall pick a long time ago, back in 1980. Hockey Hall of Famer, the great Dennis Savard is here as well. And we're honored to have Savvy here with us this morning. And yes, there is another famous third overall draft pick from 1984. He happens to have a statue right in behind us, so we'd like to welcome MJ, Michael Jordan, to our press conference as well here today. At this time, please direct your attention to the TV screens for a brief video highlighting some of the very important number 3 overall draft picks made by the Blackhawks that are still making an impact with this great franchise, both on and off the ice.
And it just seems like yesterday. I can see exactly what I was wearing and the look on my mom and dad's face.
They were all asking me if I was nervous, and I really wasn't.
It was a special day. You know, I was young. I was a young boy, and all I wanted to do is get an opportunity to play.
With the third pick, the Blackhawks are proud to select from the Saskatoon Blades, Kirby Dach.
Most likely, when you get a third overall, you should get an impact player.
It's pretty surreal. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words of what just happened. Pretty excited to kind of be going to the city. I mean, it's an original 6 team, and it's going to be an opportunity for me to kind of step in there, and I'm thrilled to be a Blackhawk.
Some opening statements from the gentleman seated to my left, and then move on to questions from the media who have gathered here today. There will be a microphone in the seating area, so please raise your hand, ask a question, and prior to asking your question, please let everybody know your name and affiliation, as well as who your question is directed to. Before we do that, I will turn over things to the Blackhawks Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Blackhawks, Stan Bowman.
Thank you, Eddie, and welcome everybody. Today's a big moment for the Chicago Blackhawks franchise. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to Rocky Wirtz and John McDonough for their leadership, and they've helped build a special thing in Chicago here with our fans. And you know, this is an important day for us for a couple of reasons. I've had a chance to get to know Kirby over the last few months, and I think as you guys get a chance to talk to him and hear from him, I think you're going to find out that he's really committed to being the best he can be and to making the Blackhawks an elite team. And the other thing is we talk about what makes a player important in today's NHL, and there's been some people say you got to have a high skill level, and being able to create offense is important. Other people are going to say, you know, you look at the way the playoffs are played, and skill is great, but you got to have size and competitiveness. So that's the most important attribute. And when you look at the game that Kirby brings to Chicago, he's got a little bit of everything. So he's got the skill to play with the high skill players. He can make plays that will wow you. He's also got the competitiveness to show that he wants it more than anyone else. So I think we got a special player here, and as you'll see, we're excited for what's to come.
Thank you very much, Stan. Now the Vice President of Amateur Scouting for the Blackhawks, Mark Kelly.
Thanks, Eddie. We're very excited about Kirby, the way we have projected him. I think what stood out for us was we took in where he's at now, the type of kid he is, his character, his work ethic, and just the ceiling that we see projecting him 2, 3, 4 years down the road. I think he can have a very strong impact not only on the team but on the franchise going forward. One of the interesting things for me over the past couple of days to learn that he's such a student of the game. On day 2 of the draft, he came and sat down right beside me, and as we're talking about players. He was very current. He knew things about them. Right before we said we were going to take Vlasic with the second pick, I asked him, "Do you know him?" And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, he's a really big left shot defenseman." And I asked him, I said, "When did you play against him?" He had played against him 2 years earlier at the 17s. So his appreciation of the game and knowledge of the game was very, very impressive, and makes us very excited going forward.
Thank you very much, Mark. And now we will hear from the 3rd overall pick in the 2019 NHL Draft of the Chicago Blackhawks, Kirby Dach.
Thanks, Eddie. I just want to say thank you to Rocky Wirtz and John McDonough for having me and my family here, and for everything you guys have kind of done over the last couple of days. It's been awesome, and for the media, it's nice to kind of meet you all, and I'm thrilled to kind of be a part of this historic franchise. And obviously Stan and Mark kind of touched on the person and player I am, and that's just who I want to be for you guys and the media and on the ice. So I want to try and be the best I can be at all times, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Kirby. We will now pause for a couple of seconds so we can set up for some questions for the gentleman up here to my left. Again, please state your name, your affiliation, and who your question is for. Left side.
Hi, Tracy Myers, NHL.com. This is for Kirby. Just wanted to ask you, from the minute you were selected until now, just what has it been like for you these past couple days? What kind of a whirlwind has it been for you?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, after hearing my name called, I didn't really hear anything or remember anything. I had to watch the video over a couple times to see what happened, to kind of just black out in the moment and enjoy it. But yeah, I flew home yesterday, or 2 days ago now, and flew here yesterday, and it's been awesome. I mean, got to tour the practice facility and then the rink today, and meet everybody, and it's been amazing. And the facility here is first class, and I just can't wait to get started in a couple weeks in camp.
Right center.
Jimmy Greenfield, the Chicago Tribune. So it's been a few days. I know there's a lot of talk about possibly making the team out of training camp. What are your thoughts about what you need to do to make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was in Game 4 for St. Louis versus Boston, and got to meet a couple of those players and just see how big and strong they are. And that's one area where I kind of need to add is a little bit more size. And the other thing I need to learn is just the pace of play. But I don't understand what that's going to be like until I get there and play with those guys and practice with them. So for me to kind of get into camp, I'm going to make the decision tough on the management group to send me back, and I'm going to give them every reason to keep me here.
John Dietz from the Daily Herald. Kirby, welcome to Chicago. You kind of stole my answer there, or a question with that, but I'm just curious, do you feel any extra pressure being the 3rd overall pick? I mean, you saw the video with Eddie and Dennis and Jonathan up there, the former number 3 picks. Do you feel any pressure to live up to those expectations?
Yeah, it's obviously tough to follow in those guys' footsteps, but I'm my own player, and I'm just going to try and be the best me I can possibly be at all times. And like they kind of touched on earlier, I'm always trying to learn and improve, and to kind of have Tay still here and to learn from him and another guy, and Dylan Stroman, what he kind of went through, and to have those kind of older guys in the locker room to mentor me in my game is going to be awesome for me to go along in my career.
Far left. David?
Megan Mawicki, CBS 2 Chicago. With that being said, talk about pressure. You've been compared a lot to a young Ryan Getzlaf. Do you see that at all? And is there anybody that you really have modeled your game after?
Yeah, obviously we're both big right-handed shot centermen, more that pass-first player and a leader on the ice and off the ice. But a guy I've kind of watched recently would have been Mark Scheifele, and the way he kind of came up and being that the two-way centerman that's also a threat to score, but has great playmaking abilities and competes really hard and is a hockey nut off the ice. I mean, that's just the kind of person I am, and I want to be that for the rest of my life.
Far left.
Hi, Kirby. David Schuster, WSCR Radio. You mentioned Jonathan Toews. I'm just wondering what kind of extra thrill it is for you to join a franchise that currently has a bunch of players that are still playing that are going to be future Hall of Famers.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, growing up as a kid in Canada, you're always watching hockey, and when they were winning Stanley Cups all the time in Chicago here in the 3 and the 6 years, Toews and Kane, Keith and Seabrook were a big part of that, and to kind of be in a dressing room with those guys now is pretty surreal, and it's those are the moments you dream of as a kid, but to have it kind of come true is you got to take a step back and realize it.
Scott King, NHL.com, WGN Radio. Kirby, in hearing some of the other interviews you did, it sounds like you've been preparing your whole life to be where you are now. How much sacrifice did that take from you and your family?
Yeah, obviously my family gave up quite a bit for me to kind of be on the right path, and my parents made sure that I made every right decision and helped me and guided me along the way, and without them I wouldn't be who I am. And my brother and sister were all pretty ultra-competitive families, so even running up the stairs for dinner is a battle, and there's lots of holes in the walls in our house, but they've been since fixed since I moved out, so it's a lot of fun having our family. We're very close and loving and supportive of each other, and obviously my brother is going to go on to do great things in the game of hockey too, and I'm going to support him, and my sister's going to go to university and have a degree and have a great job and live a wonderful life, so I'm proud of my siblings and my parents.
Right side.
This is for Stan. This is Ben Pope, Chicago Sun-Times. Whether Kirby plays in this coming season or a year or two down the road, what role do you think he can have in the roster, and what impact can he have on the team overall?
Well, I think you're right when you say that he's definitely going to be a big part of this team in a couple of years. This year, he could play a big role. I think we'll let that play out. I think Mark said it in his opening remarks. Part of our job is to project out, when Kirby has been established himself in the league, what do we think he's going to be? And I think we see him as a centerman who's going to be the guy that can do a little bit of everything. And if you're going to be an elite player in this game, you can't just be an offensive player. You have to be the guy that the coach wants to use when you're ahead by a goal and you need to win a face-off and protect a lead, and you need to have a guy that can back check and do those things so the other team has their best players on the ice. We want to eventually have Kirby to be able to do that, and I think he can do that. Yeah, but it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. This is the best league in the world, but you have to learn how to do that. And I think he's got a great mentor here in Chicago, and Jonathan Toews. I think if you look at Jonathan's career and you see the player he has become, it didn't happen in a month or in 5 months. It took a couple years to become one of the top players in the game. But I think Kirby's got the ability to do that, and he's got the desire and the competitiveness to, if he's not strong in a certain area, he's going to work until he becomes strong. So looking down the road, I think he's going to be a centerman for us who's going to play in every situation in a game and be a player that we rely on to do everything.
Left side.
Hi, Kirby. Shea Pepler, Fox Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. When your name was called and you were going to the Blackhawks, going to Chicago, what went through your head? What do you know about the city?
Yeah, obviously I didn't know much about the city, but this is my first time being here, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, got a tour around a little bit today and went out for dinner last night, and just to kind of see how nice of a city it is and how well kept the rinks are. It's awesome to be in a city that wants me, and I'm thrilled to be a Blackhawk. And to touch on what you said earlier about the third overall pick, and I was pretty much taken back. I mean, there's a discussion going on. There's kind of a group of us that could have went there, and for my name to be called, it's surreal, and I'm going to prove them right that I was the right choice.
John Dietz from the Daily Herald again. This question is for Stan and Mark. I'm just curious how much internal debate there was in picking Kirby, and did you guys, when did you decide on picking him, and did the glut of defensemen that you guys have any role in not picking Bo and Byram?
I'll start and then let Mark add his commentary. There was a lot of discussion. I mean, this decision wasn't made overnight, but I think it became, as we let the process play itself out, this started back in April when we won the lottery and moved up from 12 to 3. We knew that we were going to take our time with it. We didn't have to make a decision until June 21st. And as we went through the process of not only watching what they did, but studying it, getting to know them, looking at their progression, we both came to the same place. And at the end, it wasn't a difficult decision. I think we took our time with it, and we both kind of arrived at the same place, which is nice. And I think from that perspective, we knew it was the right decision because we both kind of arrived there at the same time.
To go on with what Stan said, I think that when we left Buffalo, we started moving in the same direction. We purposely, in Buffalo, we didn't talk or compare players. We went up there, we wanted to have a chance to sit down with them all again, listen to what some of the staff members said, hear what Paul Goodman and his staff said. But I think when we left Buffalo, it started to become clear to both of us the direction we were going.
Scott King, NHL.com, WGN Radio. Stan, you said you liked that the way Kirby responded in the WHL playoffs when he was being targeted. Do you see that coming in handy when he makes it to the NHL level, the way the opposition can kind of target guys in a similar fashion, especially rookies?
I guess in a certain way that will happen. When you're one of the top picks in a draft, I think other teams take note of you before you even establish yourself as a player, and you have a talent level that they have to pay attention to, and the best players in the world are in the NHL, and they're going to compete against him. They want to try to get him off his game, but I think the thing that was impressive in that playoff run was just how, and Kirby's talked about this in the past, where he looked at his season, and before the playoffs started, he said, I need to really take my game up a level if I want my team to have a chance. And that's the moment of the year when you can tell a lot about a player, because the intensity level changes. You playing the same team for a 7-game series, whereas in the same thing in the NHL, you play games during the year, you have one off. It's one of many games, but when you play the same team night after night after night, they have a game plan on how they want to beat you. And sometimes players either can get intimidated by that, or they aren't able to take their game up to the next level and do things that maybe they hadn't done all season. But he demonstrated the ability to continue to be the talented player he was, but also show them he wasn't going to back down. And that's an attribute that you need if you're going to be a successful NHL player and you're going to make a playoff run. You're going to be tested, and it was nice to see how he responded.
Left side.
Kirby, Chris Emma, 670 The Score, 670thescore.com. Welcome to Chicago. Looking at your background here, I mean, you've got winning in your background already at a young age and at a high level. What does winning mean to you, and how do you bring that to this level as a player?
Yeah, winning to me is everything. There's a saying where you got to hate to lose before you like to win, and I hate to lose. So anything I do, I always have to win no matter what it is. And it's something that drives me. And the ultimate goal in hockey is to win the Stanley Cup. And I'm going to work as hard as I can and push myself to every limit to get there, because that's what I want to do. And obviously, Chicago's had a couple runs here in the past where they've been able to do that, and I want to be a part of those runs and be a key member in those teams.
Got time for one more question? Anybody? We're good? Okay. All right, well, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your questions. That concludes today's press conference. We will now reset the stage for some photo opportunities in stages. A few quick reminders for everyone. The Blackhawks Convention will take place the weekend of July 26th, 27th, 28th at the Hilton Chicago, and single game tickets for regular season Blackhawk home games go on sale to the general public on Tuesday, August the 20th at noon. That's August the 20th at noon. In addition, the full regular season schedule will be formally announced tomorrow. Stay tuned to Blackhawks.com for all your Blackhawks ticket updates. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming here this morning. And Kirby, welcome to Chicago.
Thank you.